Hey, loves, welcome to episode number 4. I hope that you all are doing well, and thank you so much for joining me again. So, before we get into this episode, let's do a quick little recap on what we discussed in episode number 3. We talked about the 5 simple steps to meal prep. First, having food storage containers. Second, having measuring cups and spoons. Third, having a food scale. Fourth, drinking plenty of water. And the fifth one being an air fryer. All right, so now that you have the essential things that you need, let's get on to episode 4, which is specifically dedicated to food tracking for weight loss. All right, so when it comes down to weight loss and tracking your food specifically, there are two factors that are most important. First is tracking your calories, and second is tracking your macronutrients. So, why are these things so important? According to the FDA, calories refers to the total amount of energy that you get from all sources, such as carbohydrates, fat, protein, and alcohol in a serving of a food or beverage. Now, I love that they pointed out carbohydrates, fat, and protein specifically because these three things make up your macronutrients. So, again, the two most important things for weight loss is tracking your calories and your macronutrients. So, why are tracking your macronutrients so important and why do they point it out specifically? So, carbohydrates and fats, they directly influence the energy systems in our body. And protein helps repair muscle and tissue, amongst many other things. So, that is why it is so important to make sure that you are eating the right amount of calories and eating the right amount of macronutrients so that you can meet your weight loss goals every single week and that you know that you're not overeating, but you're still eating just the right amount for your body to still survive and thrive. Now, let's get into figuring out your calories for weight loss. We're going to go to caloriecalculator.net, okay? And we're going to put in our information. I'm going to put in mine specifically. So, my age, I am 35 years old. I'm a female. My height, I am 5'5". I'm 5'5" with brown eyes. And then my size, I am 157. Next, we're going to select my activity level. I'm going to choose exercise 4 to 5 times a week. This will come into play when it comes down to how many calories that you're burning for weight loss. So let's take a look at my results. To maintain my current weight, I need to stay within 2,063 calories a day. For a half pound of weight loss a week, I need to stay within 1,813 calories a day. For 1 pound of weight loss a week, I need to stay within 1,563 calories a day. And for 2 pounds of weight loss a week, I need to stay within 1,063 calories a day. Please note their warning of anything less than 1,200 calories, you need to consult your physician. So that is a simple way to figure out your calories. Now I'm going to show you how to figure out your calories on the NASM calorie calculator because I am a NASM personal trainer. I did want to also show you guys this way as well. And this will even break down your macronutrients for you. All right, so the first step, you're going to put in your information just as you did in the calorie calculator that we just used. So we're going to put in my name, my weight, 157. Then we're going to put in my height, 5'5", and then my sex, female, and then my age of 35 years. And then select start. All right, so for the next step, you can see that my total daily energy expenditure is 1,689 calories. So that is how much energy that I expend every single day. Now we're going to get into my current activity level as we did in the calorie calculator as well. I'm going to put moderately active, moderate exercise for 3 to 5 days a week. All right, then we're going to select next. And then for the third step, we're going to select my goal weight. And so I want to reach a goal weight of 150 pounds. I'm going to select my goal date to be the end of November. I'd like to hit 150 by the day after Thanksgiving. I know with all the foods that we're going to be eating, it's a push, but I want to still hit it. All right, we're going to click on the fourth and final step for our macronutrient ratios. So by default, it automatically puts your carbs at 40%, your fats at 30%, and your protein at 30%. But you can switch and put it at a different macronutrient ratio if you would like. So you see you can select ketogenic, low fat, low carb, and high protein. So if you like to select a different ratio for your macros, you can do that as well. We're going to keep it at default and we're going to select next. All right, let's get into my results. So my BMR, or my basal metabolic rate, is 1,408 calories that I need to function without physical activity. My TDEE, or my total daily energy expenditure, is 2,182 calories, which is an estimation of the calories that I burn based on my activity level. So to meet my goal weight of 150 pounds by November 28th, I need to stay within 1,520 calories. And so we're going to get into the breakdown of my macronutrients. So my carbs, I need to stay within 152 grams. My fats, I need to stay within 51 grams. And then I'm going to turn my phone to the side because it got a little bit cut off from my fats. And so if you guys run into this, just turn your camera to the side and you can see that my protein intake, I need to stay within 114 grams. And just a caveat, I continue to say that I'm staying within these ranges because you do not want to eat more than what is allotted here, or you will more than likely not meet your target or goal weight. All right, so I am going to share with you a few different ways that you can track your food. Now, personally, I use the Lose It app. I've been using this app for several years now. It does come at a cost of $29.99 for the year. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm just sharing with you what I have been using and what has worked really good for me. I really just like the personalization of it. They send several messages to you, reminding you to track your food. I like just the way that I can just track my food throughout the day. I like the different insights that they share with me and the patterns that they're seeing in the food that I'm eating and how I keep my calories low on certain days when I eat these foods. And so I just really like the app altogether. It has been worth the investment to me in the grand scheme of things. I just feel like, $29.99, I could spend that on, a zillion other things. And so just investing that in my health for the year, I feel like it's worth the cost. Now, I'm also going to share with you how to also track in MyFitnessPal. I have used MyFitnessPal before. It is also a really great app. MyFitnessPal, it is free. They do have upgrades where it can, be more of that personalization that you may want as well. But I'm going to share with you how you can track in MyFitnessPal and do it all for free and be able to break down your calories and your macros that you need in order to lose weight. So let's get into it. All right. So the bagels that I usually have are the Dave's Killer Bread. I really love the cinnamon raisin. I'm also going to get into just like the different type of bagels that I like. Dave's Killer Bread specifically is one that I really do love. And so that you guys can see how I'm going to track this and get in a little bit closer. The serving size of one bagel is 290 calories. Now let's get into the macronutrients. The total amount of fat is 3 grams. The total amount of carbohydrates is 57 grams. And the total amount of protein is 11 grams. All right, so I'm going to track the one bagel that I'm going to eat for today. And then I'm also going to track my cream cheese that I'm going to put on my bagel. I usually like to get the Trader Joe's cream cheese that is whipped, but unfortunately, we had a power outage last night due to a terrible storm. And so Trader Joe's literally was closed. They're throwing out food as well as the food that I had to throw out. And so I just went to Harris Teeter and I got the regular Philadelphia cream cheese whipped original. This one is still good, but again, I just like the Trader Joe's one. But as you guys can see, we're going to track it for our nutrition facts. For 2 tablespoons, it is 50 calories. Let's track our macronutrients. The total amount of fat, 4.5 grams. The total amount of carbohydrates, 2 grams. And the total amount of protein, 1 gram. Again, we're tracking our calories and we're tracking our macronutrients on our tracker. All right, let's do it. All right, so I lightly toasted my bagel. Now we are going to get the 2 tablespoons for my cream cheese. All right, so notice how I'm smoothing everything out and really trying to stay within my 2 tablespoons that I'm going to track. So, starting with my first tablespoon, I really just want to make sure that I'm not caking extra food up on top and going over the calories and macros that I am tracking. All right, and I'm going to just do that same exact thing again for my second tablespoon. Smooth everything out and make sure that I'm not adding on anything additional as much as I possibly can. All right, let's get on into tracking my bagel and cream cheese in the Lose It app. And so I already have the history in my tracker for my bagel, and I can confirm that my calories and macros align. I would advise to always double check to make sure that everything is the same in the actual tracker for both apps. Whatever app you use, always double check to make sure that what is actually in your face is also what is in the tracker. All right, I'm going to type in my cream cheese. You can see in my history, Trader Joe's option is there, but this is the Philadelphia cream cheese that we're tracking. All right, it's already measured out by 2 tablespoons. We're going to select it. And there you have it. My breakfast has been tracked. Let's move on into MyFitnessPal. So we're going to update my total amount of calories based on the calorie calculator. In case you all do not go through the NASM steps, this is the quickest way that you're going to do it in MyFitnessPal. So I am going to use the 1,563 calories that they recommended for my 1 pound of weight loss a week. And then you can see that it already automatically will break down your macronutrients for you. It actually is the same as the NASM breakdown as well, with carbs being at 40% and then your fat and protein being at 30%. You can also toggle this around as well if you'd like to have, a keto or high protein macronutrient breakdown. You can also do that in MyFitnessPal as well. All right, so let's get on into the food tracking. And so we are tracking my bagel and my cream cheese just as we did in the Lose It app. Then we're going to select Add Food for our breakfast, and then we are going to log it. The Dave's Killer Bread, Cinnamon Raisin. All right, and so make sure that you type it all the way out. You saw the Trader Joe's popped up, and that is not the one we want. We want the Dave's Killer Bread, 1 serving size, and then we're going to select it. All right, next we're going to do our cream cheese. Again, several options will pop up, so make sure you pick the right one that you need to track. And as I recommended, also make sure that everything aligns with what you actually have on hand within the tracker and that you are tracking the same amount. Next, we're going to get into my salad that we're going to prepare. I'm using the Simple Truth Organic 50/50 blend. I really like to get the larger portion sizes for my salad so that it will last me. So definitely always check the expiration date so that your salads can last you a good amount of time. And so we are starting out with a full cup, and I'm going to actually measure out 3 full cups for my salad. So I'm still being mindful if things are overflowing a bit in my cup. But as I shared with you in my first video, spring mix and all of that is very calorie dense. So it's okay if you go over a little bit. All right, so the chicken weighed out to be 3.74 ounces. As I share with you all, I like to get my dressings in light because they do have less fat and less calories. You can see for this light Caesar from Ken's that it has 60% less fat and 58% fewer calories than regular dressing. So, yes, that's just something to think about when you get your dressings, to try to get like a lighter version so that it has less fat and less calories when you do your tracking, and you can still get a good amount without having, too high of your calories in your macros. For 2 tablespoons, it is 70 calories. And then for our macronutrients, it is 7 grams of fat, 3 grams of carbs, and 1 gram of protein. So we're going to track 2 tablespoons on our tracker. So, as I mentioned in my last episode, I really like to use these containers because it already is measured out by 2 tablespoons. And so we don't have to do what we did with the cream cheese and using the measuring spoons. We literally can just fill this up and we know that we have our 2 tablespoons. So, really great on the go and good for your meal prep. So this is all that I'm going to do for this salad, but of course you can always add more to your salads. And I'm just going to go ahead and store this away for my lunch. All right, so as you guys see, my salad is prepped and ready to go. Let's go ahead and track it in the Lose It app for lunch. We're going to do our dressing first. 2 tablespoons. Again, it's already in my history, so it definitely comes in handy once you start tracking. Things will start moving a lot faster. All right, and then we're going to track the chicken breast next. And 3.7 ounces was how much that it weighed. And then we're going to click add. And then next we're going to track the 50/50 blend. Again, you get a lot of options, so look through and make sure that you're choosing the right one. So we use 3 cups. And as you can see, it is calorie dense as I mentioned, and we're going to select add. So we've tracked breakfast and lunch. And then before we move on, I did want to show you all just the breakdown of the macronutrients thus far. So as you can see, that for protein, I've had 39 out of 83 grams that I'm allotted. I have 44 grams more that I can have. For carbohydrates, I've had 57 grams out of 175 grams that I'm allotted, and I have 118 more grams of carbs that I can have. And then for fat, I've had 15 grams out of 49 grams that I'm allotted, with 34 more grams of fat that I can have. So this is super helpful to figure out how many more calories and macros that you have remaining for the rest of the day, and you can plan out things in advance so that you stay within your calories and your macros. Now let's move on into the MyFitnessPal. All right, so we're tracking our lunch, tracking the salad dressing first, the Ken's Light Caesar. All right, 2 tablespoons, and let's add it. Next, we're going to track the 50/50 blend. All right, there's several options, so pick the correct one. So one thing that I did notice in MyFitnessPal that I could not change the serving size to 3 cups, but I could change it to 1 cup and then change my number of servings to 3 so that I was still able to get the 3 cups. All right, and then lastly, we are going to track the chicken breast. And the same exact thing as far as the serving size. So they're already embedded basically. And so it was 3.7 ounces that my chicken breast weighed. So rounding it up to 4 ounces is fine.
but just something that I noticed. It is not a deal breaker at all, though, so definitely just round up when it's that close. Here you can take a look at my macronutrient breakdown thus far and how much I still have remaining for the rest of the day. So that wraps up what we are going to track today. I hope that this has been really helpful so that you can do the same on your own and track your food as well.
All right, so I did want to share with you all that one of the things that I learned from being a personal trainer is that it is recommended that you track your food for at least 2 weeks. So we have heard of like that rule of thumb is, if you track, something for 2 weeks, or if you do something consistently for 2 weeks, then it becomes a habit. And so that 2 week rule is, really helpful to just, try to track your food for at least 2 weeks. If you do that, then you're usually creating good habits. It also will help you, you're more than likely eating some of the same foods within 2 weeks. I know myself, I kind of eat the same things, especially when like you have like a health goal in mind. You kind of know, like, okay, these are the things that I like. I know that I'm pretty much going to have this, throughout the span of 2 weeks. And honestly, I have been tracking my food consistently for a while now, even though, yes, I've been on it for the past month and a half, but I've had like my ups and downs. And as I shared with you guys, I've been using the Lose It app specifically for 2 years. And I had my Fitness Pal in the past, as I shared. So it depends on like where you are. Like if you have a goal in mind, like right now, I want to hit 150 by the end of November. And so I'm going to track my calories and my macros daily because I want to make sure that I hit that goal. So try to give yourself 2 weeks and tell yourself that I'm going to do this for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to track everything that I put into my mouth and I'm going to see what results that I get. I promise you that if you stick to your calories and your macros, and we'll also get into, your physical activity as well, but definitely stick to your diet, stick to your calories and macros, track everything, and then see your results in the next 2 weeks. I promise you that you're going to make some progress as long as you stick to it. So, I hope that this episode was helpful to you. If you have any questions, I am here and I look forward to continuing to share with you and just getting to know you as you get to know me. All right, until next time.